And I was so stunned because I was like, you would never see a picture of a group of businessmen with their weight written across their body. It would be the awards they've won or their metrics or their
how big their dicks are.
Yeah, exactly. Like how many women they fucked.
Welcome back to another episode of Girls Gotta Eat.
Week 64 of the pandemic. I'm kidding. Remember those days?
I was like, you doing okay? And you're like, yeah.
I was trying to do the math. No, it's like, whatever. It's 81 and partly cloudy.
It's beautiful outside today. I took a walk. I went to the plant store. Ashley's vibe is it's all right.
Listen, I had car trouble this morning. I feel like
tell them how you managed to prolong recording today.
Yes, I do feel like every time it is something, but it always sounds like a lie, but it's not. Car trouble, that is the biggest lie in the book.
When you walked into the apartment today, you looked like you had car trouble. I looked at the shirt you were wearing, which looks like a custom Girls Gotta Eat shirt, and I was like, do we sell those or did you make that? And you're like, I don't know.
It's a unisex. Look, we'll get into it. Look. What happened was today I'm letting my friend take the Xterra to go pick up a kitten. Mm-hmm. She's been on the hunt for a kitten and she is our most
organized.
Yellow aura.
She's the most yellow friend.
Detail oriented, has been on the hunt for this kitten for months. And I will tell you that she is like family. She's such a close friend. I will do anything for her. And when she was talking about the kind of kitten she wanted to adopt, I was like, you know what, let me put it on my Instagram story and see if anybody might know a good, their cat had kittens, maybe they know a good adoption place, whatever. And I was like, just send me kind of a description. It was so specific that I was like, I can't post this. So listen,
because I couldn't even imagine in my wildest dreams what she wrote on that. I need to know what she wrote.
And it was just the way, like, she knows what she wants. She wants the cat to look a certain way, which is fine. We all preferences. She's adopting, so that's all that matters, right? She's not buying a kitten or, whatever. It's not like a breed thing. It's just a specific look. She wants it to look like a kitten forever. It's a whole thing. But she described the way its face, its mouth, its nose. It was crazy. And I was like thinking of how I could rewrite it to just seem a little more chill. So my followers aren't like, your friends are crazy. And in the meantime, I kept being like, I'm sorry, I know I meant to post that for you, and I'm sorry, I keep forgetting, I'm procrastinating. And she jokes about it. She's like, I know I sounded crazy. I'm like, bitch, you did. But in the meantime, she did find a kitten. They called me for a reference. You were here. They called me. I had to give her.
I've never heard Ashley say such nice things about anybody, including her mother and me. It was amazing.
Well, she is. She's so responsible. She sits for Dewey. She would be an amazing pet owner. So she used me as a reference, and she got the cat, and she was taking the Xterra today to go get it in like Orangeburg, New Jersey, and the battery was dead. So listen, at this point, I don't know if that cat's coming back to Manhattan because that car should not be on the road.
Yeah, but seriously, there's no one I trust in a crisis more than her in the whole world. You have some friends, you're like, if this happened to you, you would die.
Yeah, she's wonderful. And I mean, if that car breaks down on the road with like a kitten and the kitten carrier.
Well, I don't have that much interesting stuff going on in my life, which leads me to a couple things. First of all, I got a new Amazon Alexa. I've only said one thing to it. And I feel like Alexa knows everything about me because of this thing. Because I've had it in my home for like a week and a half. And I've only said one thing to it.
What?
And that is, Alexa, play Wet Ass Pussy.
Yes.
That is the only thing I've said to it.
Does she play it? Or does she know it?
Thank you. Playing Wet Ass Pussy.
She says that?
B. No, it says WAP. It really was my dream for her to say it.
Alexa, play WAP. Oh, does she hear that?
Oh, yours doesn't care.
She's in the bedroom.
She's
busy in the bedroom.
I got a second one. I got a backup one. Also, I got an Echo for the bedroom like you. A little baby Echo.
Oh, you got a big one and a small one. Mm-hmm. You got a whole speaker system.
I got a whole system.
You're all tricked out.
I couldn't let you outshine me.
I read this best meme and it was like, of course, women are dominating the rap charts and we can't even go out and dance or something like that. Like this is like such a hot music summer. I mean, there's always been like amazing summer bangers, but like especially once WAP came out and it's like, we can't even go to the club. And then it said, I know there's a man to blame for this.
It's my favorite song of the summer. Who's the man you can blame? Donald Trump.
Okay. So speaking of that, did you know that Barron Trump is like 6'6"?
Is he hot?
No, we're not going there. Rainey's 14. So
like, does he look like he'll be hot?
Oh my, okay. Stop it, what you're doing. First of all, I thought Barron Trump was like 8. I thought he was 11 at the most. Last night on Twitter, I see Barron is trending. A few reasons. One, he's going to virtual school. But yeah, Donald Trump wants to open the schools. Of course, his own son is going to virtual school. 2, there's this video of the 3 of them exiting Air Force One or whatever. Donald Trump is trying to hold Melania's hand. She is not having it. Like the most she's ever not had it. Like as in like, you will not hold my hand, swatting him away multiple times. 100% she's voting for Biden, by the way. Vote like Melania.
She knows that this like agreement they have is about to end.
Oh, she knows she's nobody is voting for Biden Harris harder than Melania Trump. And Barron is coming down behind them, and his body comes out of the plane first, and his head isn't even out of the plane. I'm like, how tall is this motherfucker? Donald Trump is like 6'3" or 6'2". I mean,
tall.
Hands of a 5'7" man, but like Barron Trump he's 6'6" at the least. I had no idea. I thought he was a child.
First of all, I thought he was 8.
Yes. Right? And like if you said he's 11, I'd be like, oh, that makes sense. He was 8, a few years ago. When like, how is he 14 and how is he an absolute unit? I just had to share that.
Thank you. No, I literally didn't know. I didn't know he was an 8. I had no idea. I just didn't know.
But yeah, I just love watching her pure hatred for her husband.
Like, should I throw myself off these steps and die or touch him? And her full body's like, die.
Yeah. It's a dry ass pussy.
I hope you guys are enjoying Donald Trump's slamming. It's only going to get worse over the next few weeks. A couple little housekeeping things. Do you want to talk about the live show? Or should I talk about canceling live shows first? Let's just hype today's episode. We have Jameela Jamil as our guest. We're so excited to have her. We've wanted her for a while, and we're actually doing this in order this time, so we haven't spoken to her yet. So we can't hype the interview, but we're sure it's going to be amazing. Her voice is, I would go to sleep to her voice. Yeah, I heard she's the best voice. So you guys are in for a serious treat. Yeah, we're going to talk about weight. We're going to talk about confidence, cancel culture, all kinds of things. Other housekeeping stuff. Unfortunately, as we let you guys know last week, we have canceled our shows through 2020, our live shows. All the information is on our website. All information is always on our website. Every venue has a little bit of different information about how to get a refund and what the window for refunds are. So check our website, but always reach out to the venues. Please have some patience with them. Every artist in the United States and probably in the world is dealing with this right now. So we are working to move the dates, not the venues. So we should be at the same venues next year, God willing. And you can always get everything on girlsgotteatpodcast.com. Yep. Everything's on the website, including our virtual Stupid Live show, which is going to be Wednesday, September 2nd, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time. It's going to be great. We have a lot of fun stuff planned. We're going to tell some crazy stories, have some fun guests that you guys will recognize if you listen to the show, some performances, all kinds of things. It's going to be wild. Dewey, of course, will make an appearance, and you guys can get tickets. They're affordable. They're like $12. A portion of proceeds will benefit Black Lives Matter. And again, just go to girlsgotteatpodcast.com, click on live shows, and it's right there at the top. Yep. And then also on the website, you guys can grab merchandise and all the other things on there. All the other things. If you guys are newer listeners, you want an episode about a specific topic, whether it's money or sexual fetishes or whatever it is, you can search those now. So every episode is there, and then all of our partners and all of our discount codes. So one-stop shop. Got new gifts, got new merch, got new everything. We're really excited. Yes. So get on that, guys. And you said you had a announcement about your personal life you wanted to share. I feel like every like 6 months I tell you guys this, and I'm usually pretty good with it. I've recommitted to getting back out there. Oh my God. Dating podcast. I cannot be getting fucked. Okay, listen, safely with a mask, doggy style. Only. I feel like New York has been pretty safe, and everybody's following the rules and the precautions. I mean, I've been out to dinner quite a bit. I mean, everything's really socially distanced. Everybody wears masks, and I feel like New Yorkers will scream in your face if you don't follow the rules. Yeah. So yeah, that's true. Public shaming. people have really like followed the rules in New York, which makes me feel very proud. But I want to get back out there because I feel like when it gets cold, everything's going to shut down again. So like my last chance to like find a boyfriend is probably like Thanksgiving, and that's it.
Oh, like before then. You have time.
Yeah, I have like a couple months, but I feel like once the world shuts down again because it's cold, you can't go to bars, like that's it, and I can't get another boyfriend until like May.
Oh, this is true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
you got to start cuffing preseason now.
Yeah, because cuffing season's not going to last as long as it usually does.
We got pandemic, election, cuffing season on steroids. November's going to be wild.
So I'm committed. I like to commit to the audience and to you that I'm going to get back out there. I always say I'm going to do it on dating apps. I don't really have an option other than that, though, because I always say it and I don't do it.
So you're going to get on the apps for the first time.
I'm going to get back out there for the first time. Well, I can't meet guys in public anymore. I can just like walk up to people and say something gross.
Yeah. You can, but it'll be like muffled through your mask. It's awkward for everybody.
Every time I've tried to flirt with somebody, I forget that I have a mask on. And they're like, no one can see what you look like. So I'm going to...
No one can see those teeth. That's your main thing.
I paid enough money for them. Yeah. So I'm gonna get out there for the first time.
You need one of those masks that has your smile on the mask so people can see what's under there.
I mean, it's my best asset are my lips. People look at them and they're like, she sucks a great dick.
The whole mouth.
Yeah, the whole mouth.
Yeah. All right. Well, Raina's getting back out on there. She's getting on there. Catch her on Hinge, or whatever you're.
Or if you guys have like really cool, smart, funny brothers, cousins, friends,
ex-boyfriends.
I'll fuck your ex-boyfriend. Depends on why he's your ex-boyfriend. Is he a cheater? I don't want him.
Right.
But maybe you had like an amicable breakup and it was just because like he made too much money for you.
But is he a cheater that'll spit in your mouth? Because then you might make an exception.
Yeah, but you can't spit anymore in 2020.
That's true. Spitting in people's mouths started this whole thing.
He can spit on my face.
You and that guy in Australia are patient zero.
I let that guy do so many things to my body.
We know.
Yeah. Okay. So you have thoughts on this, more thoughts. I don't think more thoughts than I do. You could start.
Well, we want to talk about Love on the Spectrum, which is a show on Netflix, and it's a dating show. Well, I don't know. It's a show about singles that are on the autism spectrum that are dating, but also a few couples too. So all kinds of relationships. I love it. I think that we need more shows like this to educate people on people with disabilities and people that are different than you, and just to normalize it. And there's a lot of stigma around people with any sort of disability, whether it's being on the autism spectrum or anything. And the show was really like the spectrum of autism, you know, from people that live a pretty normal life to people that still need to live with their parents and things like that. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was great all around. A few thoughts. My favorite person, I feel like, on the show, which I don't think I'm alone in this, was Michael. I just felt like he just warmed my heart. I just like, if he doesn't find his queen, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like he is just, his just the kindest soul. I just wanted to watch him the whole time. Like when he wasn't on an episode, I'd be like, "Where's more Michael, please?" So I just loved him so much. I just thought he was so wonderful. I loved when his like brother was like trying to help him date. He like gave him that checklist. I'm like, can every guy get this checklist? And then I loved the one girl, Maddie, with that big dick energy of, I want a hot, muscular, rich man, and I'm not settling for anything less. Her family was like, you might want to lower your standards a little bit. She was like, fuck you. This is what I'm out for. She was just like, not like crossing guys off the list left and right. She was like, no, I'm not good enough for me. That one guy was like good looking, paleontologist. I thought he was great. She was like, not for me.
That guy was hot.
She was just like, no. All the women were the standards. The guys were like, I'll take anyone. And the women were like, nope. Not good enough. Next. Thank you. Next.
I just thought this was a really like beautiful representation of a part of society you don't see that often, and like really important. I love what Netflix is doing in general with dating shows, but I thought this in particular was extremely important. And we talk about people with disabilities a lot, but you don't hear a lot about people with disabilities dating, and I'd love to do it for our show.
Yeah, for sure.
We're definitely committed to doing that on our podcast, but I don't think you see this side of things and what it's like for parents to help somebody or a sibling to help somebody to just like learn to, you know, pull out a girl's chair or what you ask somebody. And I really do wish like all guys went through this, because like the stuff that Michael's brother told him, like, you know, try to feel it out. And if she doesn't seem interested in what you're saying, maybe like change the topic, or, you know, ask her a different question about herself. Like, can every dude I ever went on a date with go to that school.
That letter that Michael's brother wrote him, I was like, can every guy get this and have to sign off on it that they read it?
The honesty was also just like really tremendous between people and just like what they were looking for.
It was so refreshing. Like, if everyone could date that way, like there'd be a lot less confusion. I mean, again, you know, like there's a reason why the people in the show speak and act the way that they do. Their brains function in a different way. But like, it was the bluntness and just the upfront honesty was so refreshing to see. Like, I think if I took away anything, I was like, man, this is like, it's good to watch. There's no games. There's just like, are you enjoying yourself? Should we do this again? Nope. Okay, cool. Like, it was just like at the end of every date, it was like this honest conversation between two people about exactly what they were feeling in the moment.
Can I see you again? Would love to see you again. Yes, you can see me again. That would make me really happy.
Yeah, I thought it was sweet. It was like, it was a really good, like, feel good show. And
yeah, it also,
I hope they all find love.
It opened my eyes to a part of society that I just I don't know much about. I don't have any family members with a disability. So I haven't been around it like growing up, and it's something really important and something we want to highlight on the show as well. So
yeah, we're definitely on it.
We are so excited to welcome our guest today. She is an actress, a radio presenter, a model, a writer, an activist. In 2018, she founded iWay, which is a community allyship program that we're going to talk a little bit more with her about. In addition to her activism, she recently starred into the fantasy comedy series The Good Place, which I am obsessed with. Please welcome to the house studio, Jameela Jamil.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Yes,
Thanks
of course.
for being here. So you're coming to us from LA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you're in the world of activism. So how did you get into that? We'd love to hear more about that.
God, I got into activism when I was 19, and I just started my recovery from an eating disorder and realized that a large portion of my eating disorder had come from the influence of media, in particular fashion. Like, I came up during the time of heroin chic. So that was when you were supposed to be thin enough to look like you consume nothing other than heroin in order to be beautiful. And so I really believed that messaging as a 12-year-old, as did most of the other people of my generation. And I think recognizing how much that had damaged me once the spell had been broken at 19, after I'd had a car accident that had left me like hugely disabled for a couple of years, it changed the way that I felt about my body, and it made me respect my body a little bit more and want to treat it a bit better than I had during my anorexia, my worst years of anorexia, because it isn't something that you can really get rid of in just a couple of years. But I started campaigning and writing to newspapers about the dangers of the fashion industry, which I'd seen both as a scout and also as like a budding teenage model who never really got to do much. But I saw enough to recognize that I was being told by grown adults that if I want to get to the weight that they desire, I would have to just eat one red pepper sliced up a day. And that's it. That should be my entire food. And if I cut it into small pieces, then it can feel like mini meals, which is about 15 calories a day. And I'm about 5'10".
That's so crazy.
For a growing kid, that's a wild thing to say. And I stopped having periods for 3 years, and I damaged my fertility, my kidneys, my adrenals, my digestive system is fucked. And these are things that are still going on now because of the damage I did back as a teenager. And so I think a lot of people think that I got into activism in 2018 when it was trendy because they think that I'm Tahani in real life. But actually, I've been saying this same shit for 15 years. If anything, I'm a broken record. But it's an interesting path to be on both sides of activism. One where you're grassroots and you are standing from the outside as someone with no power and no platform, where people don't listen to you or they victim shame you and they willfully ignore you. And then to do it as a Hollywood actress, and everyone's acting like not only have you never said these things before, but no one ever has. They listen to you as if you've just created the idea of activism. And so it's been an interesting journey to try to make sure that I utilize my platform the best that I can, but also don't take up too much space, which is like walking a tightrope. Yeah. Because they won't listen to marginalized people. And I know that because I used to be more marginalized.
Right.
And said all these same things.
And what is your background? Where did you grow up? Did you grow up in the UK?
I grew up in London and Pakistan and Spain. So I just basically wherever the pound was strongest is where I would go, because we had no money growing up, and we were constantly being thrown out of our houses because we couldn't make rent. So we would just move to wherever we could afford to eat, really, or wherever we might have family members who would let us sleep on the floor. So that was my upbringing until I was about maybe 7 or 8, and things started to settle down. And I think I only moved like 4 more times after that. But
Only 4 more times.
Yeah, I moved 13 times as a child, which is quite a lot.
Oh my gosh.
And I think this will resonate with a lot of people. Something you said a few moments ago, which is, when you come from a place of such adversity and you have no platform, but you feel like you have a message and you really want to get it out to people. And I feel like a lot of people probably feel like that right now today. How do you do that? Like, how did you start being an activist without a platform?
Truly just letter writing, campaigning, finding other activists, joining movements. I think that something that I want more people to understand is that activism can take place brick by brick. You don't have to have millions of followers on the internet. You don't have to even stand outside in a march with a placard if you maybe have a disability or social anxiety around crowds. You can make such a difference just from joining other movements. You don't have to be the leader of a movement. For example, all the changes that I've made, like the Instagram and Facebook law that we changed, or global policy that we changed around making sure that minors couldn't see cosmetic surgery procedures and couldn't be sold diet and detox teas, or the 2 bills I'm working on now, as much as I am the face of those things, without the 250,000 signatures that I got in 3 days from other people who joined my movement, without the 1.3 million people who join iWay, I wouldn't have created all of this noise or been able to make this change. So we do all of this as a group. And I think anyone out there who's listening to this or who's been watching the news lately thinking, shit, I need to do more. I want to be an activist, but I don't know where to start. Do not have the idea of you being at the front of the crowd. Just join the crowd, because there is so much strength in numbers. So that's how I started, was just by kind of jumping onto other, educating myself and everyone around me as best I could, but writing in, contacting the British Fashion Council, contacting the government via harassment letters, and aligning with other people who were older and more experienced than me.
Well, and I love that, because you never know what's also going to catch on. So like something like what's just happening in Iowa, they had this crazy storm that's like got another word that I don't even know. And like, It wasn't getting a lot of press, because there's a lot of other things going on. And someone just sent it to me and I posted it. And then I feel like it started to pick up traction. And then you see the original post was just this guy with like a couple hundred followers that was like, here's what's happening in Iowa. Here's how you can help. And I think sometimes you see a post from like someone with literally under 1,000 followers that all of a sudden you look at it and it has a 500,000 likes because it got into the hands of the right people and people just started sharing it around.
Also, so much of activism takes place like at your dinner table. And if we all took part in just brick by brick activism of educating those around us and ourselves, then the world would be completely transformed within a matter of months. But it's because I think we have this idea that an activist wears a beret and stands at the front of a march, like being able to be a great public speaker and has all of this power and charisma. It's like, that's not true. It's the masses who make the difference. And I think it's really important. I think I see a lot of division within activism and a lot of kind of oppression Olympics and allyship Olympics. And you see people wanting their movement to be stronger than another person's movement. And this is just such a warped idea of how we're going to beat the oppressor. The reason the oppressor keeps winning is the oppressor knows how to organize and stick together and put their differences aside. And I feel like liberals definitely still are struggling with being able to do that, because they want perfection, they want moral purity, and I understand that. But I don't know if we are always amazing at looking at the bigger picture, at zooming out and seeing the macro of like what we're actually trying to achieve here, and we deal in the micro sometimes. So I definitely hope that this year, I think there's been more alignment, especially politically. You can see that more people are like, okay, let's just put our differences aside and get the government in order that we want.
Yeah, and you've been pretty open about you can't tackle everything, and people come at you, they're like, did you see Kim Kardashian's picture? Why aren't you speaking on it, Jameela? And you're like, okay, but the fact that you are even bringing that to my attention shows that like my work here is done. Like I've showed you how to spot these problematic things. Yeah. So I'm only one person and I can only do so much. And I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but you just really honed in on this like fit tea bullshit, serving this stuff to young girls. Like I feel like you can't just cure body image and eating disorders. So you chose a lane almost of like, okay, here's what I see as a problem with influencers peddling this bullshit, and I'm going to hone in on this.
It's funny. people have all these different ideas of who I am because they don't really know me beyond a tweet. And so some people think I'm the Punisher and that I'm here to come and cancel and kill and go out and just, I'm Batman, and they put a bat signal in the air, and then I go out and like scream at someone publicly. That's not really what I'm trying to do. Like, I don't want to cancel anyone. I don't want to cancel the Kardashians. Why would I try and cancel people who have loads of money and influence that they could put to so much good? Why would I, like, truly, I mean, talk about biting the hand that could potentially feed us.
Right.
And so I want them just to stop selling laxatives, and then I will get off their dick. It's really not like, I don't enjoy this. This isn't fun for me.
Yeah. Did you hear that, Chloe? Okay.
No, yeah. And so I try to like approach them with as much empathy as I can, because, you know, I was a huge Kardashian fan when I was younger because they were the first curvaceous women in media. And I felt like they took so much bullying from the press over that I was like very on Kim's side and used to constantly speak out in her defense. And then she, you know, I think it all just kind of got to their heads as to the fact that the priority in their lives, the thing that the media scrutinize the most, means that their size, their weight, their appearance must be the most important thing about them, which is a shame because they're actually a very bright group of businesswomen. But you could just see that damage has been done, though, because this is the messaging they put out so often. It's like, they don't need the money. They're billionaires. They don't need to sell these teas and these detoxes and these corsets and show these pictures of them looking thinner than maybe they are. And then they get found out by the paparazzi and then everyone piles in on them again. They don't need to do that, but they've clearly internalized the idea that what's most important about them is how little space they take up, how young they can look, how sexy they can be. And the media and society did that to them. So I try to act with as much empathy as possible, but I'm not a counselor. I'm also not an intellectual. I think some people think that I'm a super intellectual. I left school at 16. I don't have any fucking qualifications. I'm not that well read. I'm just I'm an ordinary person who just got put in an extraordinary position on NBC, who just said, well, these things are fucked, and it would be crazy if I don't say something about them. Otherwise, I'm complicit in the violence against women.
I think that we've seen this explosion of cancel culture this summer. So for people that never even heard that term before, you can't escape it now. Yeah. And I like how you liken the Kardashians to, you know, I don't want to cancel them. I want to re-educate people, because like, how sad is it to lose people that have a platform that large, right?
Yeah.
And I love the stuff that you said about just sort of re-educating people and not some people deserve to get canceled. Some people do really terrible, horrible things, but other people really are just products of their environment and deserve to be re-educated.
Yeah, and I believe in education. My job here as an activist is I'm more trying to be an educator, right? I'm learning all the time, and I'm just trying to bring everyone along on the journey with me so we can all learn together. I don't believe in being judgmental about people who don't know what they don't know yet. I just believe we should all be trying, and we should all be on a journey to consistently get better and do better. And so, you know, my role personally in society is just like, I believe in people. I believe in people's intelligence. And I think that if we just gave them the correct information, if we just told kids what Photoshop is, how it works, how everything they're seeing is face-tuned, what is really in the detox and diet teas, what happens to you when you wear a corset all of the time. I think if we actually armed them with the information, they are bright enough to protect themselves, but because they've been left in the dark and they think that porn is real and that's what sex is really like, and we don't tell them anything at school, their parents don't tell them fuck all. And so I think that I've just kind of decided to kind of step in as a kind of crass, foul-mouthed older sister who your parents don't want you to talk to, but who's going to tell you the truth that I learned the hard way so that you don't end up as fucked up as I have been. What was your question? Sorry, about educating people. Sorry, yes. So I believe...
No, you nailed it. Keep going.
There are two layers to this, right? Cancel culture and call-out culture. They're two very different things. And I feel like celebrities keep crying about how they are being cancelled just because they're being criticized. And I think we've had this kind of almost religious approach to celebrities over the last 20 years where we treat them like gods. So they've become accustomed to being treated like gods, never being questioned. And so when they get pushback, they're like, I can't believe you've cancelled me. It's like, you're a white billionaire, J.K. Rowling. Nobody can cancel you. Only death would be cancellation.
Right, yeah.
You can publish your own books. You can start a publishing fucking house.
You're going to be literally fine.
Yeah. Celebrities don't often get cancelled. Very few ever have been. And so, you know, they normally just go away for a minute and they come back. And so they've been crying about cancel culture. And I think that has been really unhelpful because it's made people then not understand what cancel culture is. Call out means you are calling someone out for their bad behavior and maybe even piling onto them if that's what it takes to get their attention. Cancellation means deplatforming someone, taking away their rights, taking away their job, taking away their voice. And I do think that our world that we're in right now is so unforgiving and so impatient and so angry. And I understand why, but I don't like the culture of calling for the cancellation, the deplatforming and whatever of someone on their first or second mistake, if that mistake isn't intended to harm people. I think we have to be willing to educate people. If we think that people aren't capable of change, then what the fuck is the point of activism anyway?
Right. It's the hypocrisy is crazy. It's like, don't you want growth? Like I watch your Trevor Noah clip over and over. I'm not kidding you. I feel like I could quote it. And I love that you say, like, if you haven't caused irrevocable, is that the word? I can't.
Irrevocable.
Like harm, and you are doing more good in the world. Why are you trying to take these people down and come for their money? And it's like, people change and they grow. And shouldn't we love to see somebody that is doing great things in the world that they used to fuck up? Because that's proof that there is so much growth, and it's like we can all do better. Like, it's almost like inspiring as opposed to something that you should be trying to ruin someone's life for something they said 10 years ago. Like, to me, it's like the opposite. We should be like, wow, look at how far he or she has come from those comments from a decade ago. This is inspiring. Like, it's so backwards, and I get so fired up.
It just makes me quite sad because I think that no one recognizes, again, like, let's look at the bigger picture. You're devaluing progress. Devaluing progress to young people. It's like, we as adults, we see these things differently, but you have to be aware that kids are watching us. They're watching everything we do, and we are making them afraid of putting their hands up and admitting when they don't know the answer to a question, or they don't join in with activism because they are afraid that if they aren't perfect and if they don't already know everything, then, you know, if you stick your neck out, your head is going to get chopped off. And so we are truly devaluing progress. Why would anyone bother getting better if you're never going to allow them to re-enter society? And again, I'm only talking about people who haven't done irrevocable harm. Someone like Harvey Weinstein should fuck off and die in a bin. Exactly.
Absolutely.
But I think other people who have potential to really do amazing things with their power, we need them. Like, how far along do we think we are that we can just cut off all of our potential allies because they made one mistake maybe 10 years ago?
Right. Well, also, I can't even believe I'm using this as an example, but I feel like, you know, nothing anybody's going to do is going to be perfect, and no one's ever going to be 100% satisfied with an apology or a comeuppance or whatever. But Britney Spears posted this thing. I can't believe I'm using her as an example. But I actually really liked it. She said, go ahead and criticize me, but just remember to be perfect for the rest of your life. And I thought that was a great sentiment. Britney, I hope you're okay. But I love the sentiment, and I feel like you can sit in silence and judge other people who have tried to do something for the world and say this isn't enough or this is, you know, misguided or whatever, but look at your own life and what are ways that you could be better. Because I have looked at my life every day for months now in this society and said every day, how can I be better and more informed? For sure. I'm always learning. I mean, I fuck up publicly all the time, and I don't shy away from it because I think it's really important for young people in particular to see that someone can grow and change and learn. I believe in showing my workings out as to how I am becoming a better person. I was so fucking problematic, so ignorant just a couple of years ago even. I mean, I think it was 2012. I was slut shaming publicly. I was just so careless in the way that I would talk about different kind of subgroups of minorities. I also was a comedian, so I would make really, really callous and crass jokes all the time. And I've grown into someone who now uses my platform not to take people down, but to elevate people. I know I sometimes call people out, but only when they're being dangerous. Other than that, I've now turned my work towards strengthening marginalized groups and trying to help give them my platform. If I'd been cancelled, quote unquote, like had my job and my voice and my everything taken away, then I wouldn't have been able to eventually create iWay and start to change all these laws. So we have to believe in the progress of people. Otherwise, what are we here for if we don't believe in hope? And I think that it makes me really sad. And I also think it's important to think about this, I guess, the psychology behind some of cancel culture. I feel like, you know, we're quite simple beings, really, and I don't think we've evolved in all of the ways. And I think that there's a feeling of safety in a tribe. And when you see a tribe, or you see a mass of people turning against someone, you sometimes join in just for the feeling of safety of like, if I actively stand out against this one thing or criticize this one person and join the pylon, then at least I'm safe within the numbers of the big group who are calling them out, and therefore I don't have to be on my own. I think we do it for safety. Does that make sense? And for acceptance.
Well, and to like prove allyship in a way, which is kind of sad. Like Obama talked about this at the end of 2019. The Daily did a great 2-parter on cancel culture, and I think people forgot the end. That I think that they felt like it was so long ago, but like it's still a relatively newer term. And Obama addressed it, I think, in November 2019, and he said this is kind of how people are trying to prove that they're a good person by judging others and piling on others. So it was interesting. So we co-sign him always.
Always, like, forever. It's also like, I also wonder if it's partially because we see something in someone else that maybe we possess ourselves, and we're so disgusted by that or embarrassed of it that we rail against it disproportionately, intensely, because we hate that part of ourselves, and we feel like maybe we can exercise that demon by so violently standing against something else. And by the way, just so you know, I'm so pro celebrities and powerful people being called out to within an inch of their lives. I'm fine with that.
Well, we are too. We've been called out, and we're better people for it.
Exactly. I'm so much better for it. Everything I know, I learned from my mistakes, not from my triumphs.
Yeah.
But there's a difference, like you said, of also trying to ruin someone's life and their livelihood. And I love that you distinguished the difference of call out and let's ruin your life and let you never speak again.
Yeah. I want to get back to iWeigh a little bit, talk about what you build. I'd love to talk a little bit more about eating disorders and body image if you're comfortable. And since this is a dating show, how that can affect dating and relationships, if you have any thoughts about that. So that's a loaded question, but
there's a lot there. Go on. Break it down for me. What do you want me to answer first?
Why don't you tell people, we know because we know iWeigh, but why don't you tell people even what iWeigh means? Like what is, like, someone that's totally unfamiliar with the brand?
In 2018, I think I joined Instagram for The Good Place to promote it, and I clicked on the explore button, and I really didn't know what I was doing. And all these images kept on coming up of these beautiful, talented, strong, powerful women. And the numbers were written across their bodies, namely the Kardashians. I saw a picture of a group shot of the family with numbers written across their bodies. And I was like, oh, I bet that's how much money they're worth. And then I thought, oh, I wonder how much money they're worth. So I clicked on it, and it was their weight. And I was so stunned, because I was like, you would never see a picture of a group of businessmen with their weight written across their body. It would be the awards they've won, or their metrics, or their
how big their dicks are.
Yeah, exactly.
Like 5, 6, 7.
How many women they fucked. But it was their weight. And because of the algorithms of social media, once I clicked on that one image, it was like, oh, she wants to see pro-ano material. And so suddenly I had all of these images of different famous women and their weight written across their bodies. And I tried so hard to find the same of men. And unless they were a UFC fighter, I couldn't find a single picture of a man with their weight written across their body, because we don't care. We care what men contribute to society and what they do, not what the numbers on a scale. And so what iWeigh is a new metric for measuring your value, because women have been taught that our value is in how little space we take up and what numbers turn up on a scale. And that is fucking bullshit. And that is the height of patriarchy, to give us this method of distracting ourselves so that we're eating less, we're sleeping less, we feel distracted and awful about our bodies all of the time. Therefore, how can we ever be an equal gender if we have all of this extra homework to do of always looking like a prepubescent Lolita 14-year-old? So I one day posted, well, I weigh my relationship and my orgasms and my friendships and my financial independence, my activism, the eating disorder I've survived. And I posted it. I didn't have a very large following. I think I had 16,000 followers on Instagram at the time. And it just went so mega viral around the world in a way that I could never, ever have predicted. And within 3 days, I had 10,000 women post their iWeighs back to me, started an Instagram account, thought it would be a short phase. And yet here I am 2 years later. We have 1.3 million followers, a very active community. We've built a podcast. We have a YouTube channel. We're changing laws together. And we really support.
I'm getting like all worked up.
I'm a little choked up.
It's wild. It's been so mad, but it also shows that, like, I just touched upon such a global frustration, and it's no longer just a body image movement. It's now just a general movement against shame. And it's about radical inclusivity and representing the groups who are most erased in the most empowering and educational way. It's also, most importantly, the thing that I wanted it to be is what it's now become, which is, this has been a year where a lot of people want to join in allyship and they don't know where to start. Mm-hmm. And again, as we were saying, like, this is not a very forgiving space. Allyship is such a superiority complex space where everyone wants to show how much more they know than you and punish you for what you don't yet know. And so we wanted to create a safe space where it's like, wherever you're at in your journey of learning, you can learn with us. We have something for everyone. We will introduce you to the best activists. It's not all about me. It's all about other people. The mic has been fully passed over to other smarter, more experienced activists. And when I'm learning there, you can just join me on this. I don't know shit about shit.
I don't know fuck about shit.
I don't think that's true.
I don't know. And I'm learning. And I think that is joyous. And that's the whole point of life. And so you are welcome to come and join me in that. We're not going to judge you for what you don't know, because we're so glad that you're here trying to be better.
I just love that.
I love that.
It's the energy that people need right now, is like, because people are so ready to jump down your throat for one misstep when you have a platform. So I love that you're trying to create this safe space of like, it's okay if you say the wrong word. You know, I don't mean like a slur. You know what I mean? Just like,
I think just consistently being on a journey to look at your internalized bigotry wherever it lies, or your internalized misogyny, and always be correcting yourself, be hyper vigilant, and just do and be better. Like, as long as you are growing every single day, you are on a better path than those who just sit there pointing at you from the sidelines. A lot of the people who criticize others aren't doing shit to help anyone else. And the reason I know that is because I don't have time to nitpick other people, because I'm actually busy trying to help others. Because like, if you have time to sit there being a keyboard warrior, picking everyone up on every single syllable, then I think that it shows that you have a lot of time on your hands, because you're not being very fucking helpful in the world.
Yeah, read a fucking article.
Yeah. And so, you know, like I said, I think accountability is vital in this space, and I'm one to definitely hold others to account, and I'm held to account all the time. But we just have to have our fucking eyes on the prize. Sometimes I feel like we've actually lost sight of the end goal because we've lost hope in it. And so we're just kind of, all we've learned how to do is be angry and complain, but then not actually plan the next step. I feel like we're not planning the next step yet enough, and we're not figuring out how to come together and fix our oppression as one.
And it made me laugh when you said, I don't know shit, which is not true. But I think
I don't know shit about shit. I'm learning. And I think that that's cool. And I think being willing to fail is cool. This fucking stupid idea of failure or a mistake being something to be ashamed of, it's not at all. I mean, failure is a sign that you actually had the guts to try. And I think that that's incredibly noble. It's way cooler than someone who never bothered, who never put themselves out there.
But just wants to hide behind their keyboard and criticize everyone else.
Brave.
If we wait for everyone to have a perfect understanding of absolutely everything before they join in and try and help, then nothing is ever going to get better. Everyone has to jump in, scrap in now, get messy, get dirty, and get into trouble, but work together towards a better future.
Right. I love that.
So on iWeigh, what kind of particular, I don't want to keep hammering this, but we haven't done a lot of episodes about eating disorders and body image. Body image, yes, but not eating disorders. What type of resources do you provide for people?
So we find great activists from around the world who talk about these things, but we also align with charities like NIDA or universities who are doing studies like Harvard Striped. And so we work with them a lot. And I also use my podcast to talk to a lot of scientists or celebrities about their eating disorders. I talk a lot about mine. I had an eating disorder for about 20 years. I only actively starved myself for about 4 of those. And then after that, I've just had the kind of, but still like a really odd relationship with food. And food, I used to weaponize food. Food was comfort. Food was rebellion. Food was joy. Food was consolation. Food was never just fuel until I was like 30. And so I was just so toxic, so obsessed with my size. And I would step on a scale every single day for 20 years and allow that scale to tell me how I was allowed to feel that day. So it's like the number would decide whether this was going to be a good day or a bad day. How dare I? How dare I let numbers on a scale determine whether or not I have permission to feel good, to feel sexy, and to feel happy and strong and worthy? The shit that I've said to myself in my own head is so much worse than the worst things that any troll could ever say to me on the internet. It is unbelievable when you silence that inner bully, when you realize the peace in your head and how much of your brain was just full of you saying things to yourself that you would never tolerate being said to someone that you love. So I talk a lot about my own eating disorder history, and I go out of my way to bring factual information around eating disorder culture, what is a lie, and what is actually in the products that are being sold to people in order to make them lose weight. I'm one of the people who has, I think, brought the most attention to the fact that there are laxatives in these diet and detox products, and you basically just shit fire, like Game of Thrones in your asshole, and then you can't shit again for like 5 more days.
And the people pushing them aren't using them. Like, hello, it's the number one thing to say. It's like, this is just, you're being lied to straight out of the gate.
Yeah, as if they would, as if like any of these influencers. And also that's why they don't even put the side effects written under. Can you imagine them putting their sexy picture of them in their like Photoshop shot with like excessive diarrhea and potential hemorrhoids? Like, can you imagine them putting that under in the caption? Right. They deliberately don't put any of the information in because it's so unsexy. It's so bad. They put Viagra and heavy metals in boys' muscle gain products. So that's why we're seeing such a rise in young impotence amongst boys. Like this stuff is, none of it is FDA regulated. So all of it is just dodgy powder over the internet. Some of the stuff for women has got speed in it. And there are 24,000 kids a year who get admitted to the emergency room for having taken these products. So these celebrities and influencers aren't talking about that. It's just greed and a complete bankruptcy of morals. And so, you know, if I'm going to participate in this industry that has poisoned the minds of so many people and made so many people feel ugly and fat and otherwise, then I have to use it to just dispel all of the bullshit that I myself internalized as a kid watching all of these celebrities. And so now I'm just here to just call bullshit on absolutely everyone. And I don't care how powerful they are, and I don't care what happens to me.
We say I literally don't care. It's one of our tags.
Yeah.
But
I don't give a
we
fuck.
love that energy.
Yeah, so. I'm fresh out of fucks to give. But you mentioned love life. I think that's a really important thing to talk about. On my podcast, I talked with Matt McGorry from Orange is the New Black and How to Get Away with Murder about his lifelong eating disorder. And him and I touched on the fact that when you are starving yourself or excessively working out and obsessed and fixated when it comes to food and calories and your size, you are the least sexy ever because you hormonally don't have the energy to fuck anyone. You also nutritionally don't have the energy. I'm not a great shag now, but I'm definitely a better shag now than I was when I had eaten.
Girl, I don't both shag you, okay? We're neither of us.
Yeah, no, because my hormones were all over the place. And I was starving myself. I was weak, you know. Right. I could never go on top.
Oh my God, imagine trying to fuck somebody when you're hangry. No. I can't, it's like, think about it right now, even just being super hungry. I'd be like, get out of my face.
I'd be like, get in my face, you know, just suck that dick for a meal.
I'll swallow for once. I've never swallowed before, but I would.
Never?
You know I don't swallow.
You've never swallowed.
Why would I ever swallow?
I swallow. I have like 100% swallow rate.
That's why you're glowing.
Thank you. It's all the cum in my system.
No, I exfoliate with it. I don't swallow. Okay. You know what? I don't know why we're going down this road.
You don't brush your teeth with it? That's how everyone in Hollywood has such white teeth.
That's not because they bought their teeth.
Yeah.
That took a turn. But we don't want to get too far off topic. We want to still hear from you about eating disorders and how the negative body image can affect your dating and relationship and sex life.
Well, you want to shag less. You want to shag in the dark always. And I believe some lovers like to see you. You can become, your obsession with food can really, really take over a relationship. It becomes very hard to go out to eat with them, just to eat with them generally, which can be quite a bonding thing to do with someone that you love. And it can really create barriers. I know a lot of my friends who still struggle with eating disorders have tremendous struggles with their lovers because their lovers want to help them feel good about themselves because they're with them because they find them attractive as they are and would love them even if they were bigger or whatever size. But they are so consumed with their own self-hatred that they project that onto other people. So it's a life of misery. And it's also the number one cause of death amongst any mental illness, anorexia. Is eating disorders. And I don't think enough people know that or take it seriously enough, as that it really does unbelievable damage to your bones if you are not eating enough, to your fertility, to your skin, to your heart. You know, a lot of people don't know that the first thing you lose in weight is often muscle before fat. So it's water first and then muscle. You always lose muscle before fat. And your heart is a muscle. So every time you go on these big crash diets and you are starving yourself and denying yourself calories, your heart is thinning. And it's very, very hard to build that back up. And it's how a lot of people die in their kind of 40s and 50s of heart failure because they didn't eat enough along the way.
Gosh,
and so, you know, there just isn't enough information about how deadly and serious these things are. And also the most important thing to understand is that we have one version of what we think an eating disorder looks like. We think it is the 4.5 stone kind of emaciated or skeletal person that we see in the film or in the magazine. No, you can be anorexic and be undereating and undernourishing yourself at any size. You can be a fat woman, a large fat woman with an eating disorder who maybe because you have a slow metabolism or an insulin resistance, you are actually eating like 600 calories a day, but your body is just piling weight onto you. That is possible. Mm-hmm. You can have an eating disorder at any size and any gender. You could be a man, you could be a woman, you could be a non-binary person. It can reach you anywhere, and you don't always have to have bones that are visibly showing in order to actually be starving yourself and denying your body vital ingredients.
And so how did you get to where you are now? Do you feel like you seem like you're in a healthy place? Do you feel okay? So No,
I'm in a good place now. I had a therapy called EMDR Therapy, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy, which I utilized to change my coding around food and to change my thoughts about my body. It's not like hypnosis. What it does is it just reorganizes your thought. It's mainstream therapy. It's not some rama-ding fuck Hollywood shit. It's it's free on the National Health Service in the UK.
Okay.
And it is a mainstream science approach to reorganizing the thought processes that you have. It like breaks your thought patterns. And a large portion of eating disorders and body dysmorphia is thought patterns, and it just interrupts them and shifts them and makes you a much more rational person. So now I look at food as fuel. I eat intuitively. I eat when I'm hungry. I don't compulsively overeat because I'm stressed, and I don't starve myself to punish myself for when I overeated. I was a binge and starve, like a roller coaster for 20 years, which is exhausting and also very expensive. The binging is, especially if you're a real foodie, is unbelievably costly. I think it's why I lost all my money by the time I was 30.
Right. People don't even talk about that side
exactly.
of it.
And so, I had EMDR therapy, and I stopped weighing myself, and I stopped wearing very, very tight clothes. And I finally got myself a stylist who I'd never worked with, within my career. And I made sure that stylist was a man who would never, ever question my size. Mm-hmm. He would always make everything to fit me. He believes that the clothes should fit me. I'm styled by Law Roach, who's Zendaya's stylist. And he really, he will double the size of a dress for me on the red carpet rather than make me feel like it's my fault for the clothes not fitting me. But outside of that, truly, it's supportive. It's making sure that I have people around me who don't talk about their weight, who don't talk about my weight, don't talk about the weight of other people. And I have changed my feed. I can't believe how much it changed. I've stopped reading most magazines. I just don't let myself think. You don't have to subject yourself to that. You don't have to expose yourself to that. You can, and I just want to kind of get back to the time where, at least in the 90s, I used to have to go out of my way. I'd have to buy the $4 magazine in order to feel like shit. Whereas now, because of our phones, it just comes to you. It finds you, like that John Krasinski film. It finds you in the night, and it seeks you out. And so I think it's just about being more protective of ourselves, the way we would protect our own children. Would you ever let a teenager look at the shit that you look at? No.
Right. And I know that I've done a good job curating my feed, because when I see you posting about the things that you're taking on with the teas and all the diet culture, I'm like, I don't see that. I don't see it, because I'm just following the right people. I think this is something that's not even getting into my brain, because I mute and unfollow whenever it feels necessary.
Yeah.
How'd you even get in this feed in the first place?
Uh-huh.
It's mute, block, delete, repeat. That is truly the guide to mental health on the internet.
And I like this idea of, what you surround yourself with and who you surround yourself with. If you were a drug addict, you would go hang out in a drug den. So if you have body dysmorphia issues, which a lot of people do, then you just don't look at this stuff. And I also loved the self-talk that you mentioned a few minutes ago about your partner loves the way you look, and that's why they're with you, and your family loves who you are, and your friends love who you are, and none of these people are in your life because of the way you look. And I think that's really powerful self-talk.
Really powerful. It's really, really important. And, no one is ever judging you because they're so busy worrying about themselves. I think we also need to understand
That's
that.
So
we
true.
think
No
everyone
one cares
is judging
about you.
No, everyone is self-obsessed.
You.
We are a globe of narcissists. And so, to worry too much. Like I said, I think if we just tell people the truth, people are smart enough to make their own choices. It's only because we've been lied to for so long that we make these terrible decisions.
Well, and I feel like I remember a point of realizing that photoshopping was a thing, of seeing something where that's not what they look like if I were to see them on the street. And I don't know what young women believe nowadays, but I love seeing accounts that show what goes into a Facetune, what goes into photoshopping. For me, if I'm drawing attention to it, it's not in some petty way. It's just to like let the young people know that this isn't reality. So if you want to touch up your photos, fine. We've been doing this since the beginning of time. It's in magazines, it was Photoshop, now it's Facetune, it's whatever. But like
paintings,
let's just
way hotter in the paintings.
Yeah, paintings, the original. Yeah, like
the original Facetune.
Draw me like one of your French girls, but make me skinny. Like just as long as people know. You know, it's just like, that's why I love what you do. It's just like, most people are intelligent enough to make their own decisions, but let's give them the information and show them what's true and false.
Sure. God, Photoshop is such a nightmare. It's such a dangerous thing. It really, really, really made me hate myself when I was younger because I thought I had to live up to these people who didn't themselves look like that. And so I was covered in stretch marks. I didn't know that that was normal, especially for a tall girl or someone who's gained weight. So I have stretch marks all across my tits. I didn't know that acne could sometimes be normal as a teenager. I didn't know that you were supposed to have little sort of lumps of chub, some places, that you're not just skin and bone everywhere, and that your legs aren't 100 feet long. I didn't know. I felt so ugly because I couldn't match this like AI version of what a woman is supposed to look like. And it's so toxic and so dangerous. And now Facetune being kind of democratized and Photoshop being democratized where anyone can use it on an app means that now you no longer have neurotic actresses and models trying to match this impossible beauty standard. You just have everyone. Teachers, gym instructors, kids at school trying to live up to a digitally enhanced image. And so I genuinely have always believed that plastic surgeons were behind all these apps that can make you look more quote unquote attractive, because you can never, no one is above looking in the mirror and comparing themselves to a digitally enhanced photograph and then feeling okay. It's very, very difficult to compare yourself to actual perfection, like AI levels perfection, like ex machina perfection, and then look in the mirror and be like, I'm okay with my real life pores and stretch marks and cellulite. It's designed to make you then want to, in real life, match your photoshopped photograph. So you'll go out and get the surgery, get the fillers, like have the eating disorder, take the detox tea. It's all designed to just fuck women entirely in our brains, just like two dicks in either ear, just fucking us in the brain. And it's working with the highest number of eating disorders we've ever seen, like highest number of self-harm, highest numbers of teen cosmetic surgery. It is, consumerism is winning, and we have to fight back, and we can only fight back with information and solidarity and transparency, which is why in The Good Place I would never let them put makeup on my tits, which they would always, like, often a new makeup artist would try to do without even thinking, or she would try and put those like red lines down the middle of my nose to make my nose look thinner, which is a fucking racially insensitive thing to do. That happens to me on every single set, which is why I now do all of my makeup for everything and have done since like 2017. I won't let anyone cover anything up about me. I won't let anything I do be photoshopped, even if it's the cover of Vogue. And when I did a billboard for The Good Place, I insisted that I was not photoshopped, even when it was a group shot, which then made everything look a little bit weird. But they had to deal with that because that's my rule, because I'm so dedicated to making sure that we are transparent.
It's so important to have voices like that today, because I can't even imagine what it's like growing up today. I mean, I've grown up with my whole life. I've struggled with like body dysmorphia and looking at myself and thinking, you know, is this cellulite normal? I grew breasts at a crazy young age. And so
two or three,
2 breasts or 2?
No, 2 or 3 years old.
Out of the womb.
How many
they were like,
breasts do you have? I was like 11 and I needed a bra. Very early on, like in high school, I started taking no-dos. I just like wanted to be this like skinny person. I wanted to disappear. I felt really insecure about the attention I got from men and the way my friends looked and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it really affects you growing up. It affects the way that you date. It affected the way that, like you said, stepping on a scale and having a really bad day. I've had a lot of days like that. And I think a lot of women have. It's a struggle as a female. And I even today, you know, I've gained a bunch of weight through quarantine and my body's not in the fighting shape I want it to be. And I met this guy in a park the other day and my girlfriend was like roasting me so hard for how awkward I acted around him. And she's like, I won't leak this because you were like so bizarre. But I was like, I don't feel good about myself and it affects the way I approach dating. That's not every day for me, but I have sympathy for people that carry that with them every single day because it's a lot of weight mentally to carry.
It's an amazing way for women just to feel apologetic for existing once again. So, oh, sorry, I'm taking too much space up. What was it that Catherine Ryan, the comedian, was talking about the fact that, we mustn't take up too much space because a man might want to play golf there. He might want to build a golf course there. So us women mustn't take up too much space. And I always thought that was really
She's
funny.
great. I know. She's very funny.
Really great.
I love that you have, it sounds like, just refused to let people edit you into an unrealistic version of yourself.
Look, I think we really don't understand yet the tremendous dangers of Photoshop. I'm currently working on a tax incentive at the moment in Boston to try to create a bill that will give money to companies and tax breaks to companies that do not Photoshop any of their photographs, because it's literal false advertising. And it's crazy. It is crazy how powerful Photoshop and Facetune are, because I see all of these women and men.
Oh, it makes you a totally different
in
person.
Hollywood. I mean, they look nothing like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to shame them. I'm just saying that I wish that I'd embraced that face so it wasn't a shock to me when I saw them compared to the image that I've been fed. And it must really fuck with them because they feel embarrassed.
If I see myself on Facetune and I'm pinching my stomach in and my thighs and my arms and all these things,
you're internalizing that.
It fucks me up in the way that I enter the world, because I see what I like, quote unquote, could look like, and I don't look like that. And then it informs the other interactions I have, like with men, where I'm like, well, if I could just be 10 pounds skinnier, like on Facetune, then I could feel better about myself. And it fucks with your head really bad.
Really, really badly. And it also fucks with men's head. It's a lot of my friends are really impacted now by social media because they have become hyper-normalized to the photoshopped images, which is making it hard for them to get it up for regular women.
Right.
Which is often those women in real life, those same women that they are. And so it's like impacting what they're attracted to. And so a lot of my male friends have now deleted Instagram and social media and porn because it's making them very lonely, and they are unable to find people they actually connect with because their penis is only responding to this like Lara Croft image that doesn't really exist in real life beyond Emily Ratajkowski. Like it's just wild.
We talked about going back and watching The Hills, like from so many years ago before this movement really. And we were like, oh, right. Normal, pretty girls, without all of the enhancements and without all the things. And it's like what women look like has just changed drastically.
It's truly just Angelina Jolie came along and everyone was like, that is the perfect whitewashed version of an exotic woman's eyes and lips, but on an acceptably white face and a skinny body, but with big breasts. Angelina Jolie and the intersection of her doing Lara Croft changed the beauty standard forever. Everyone just looks like a shit Angelina Jolie, or even a great Angelina Jolie. But that's what it is. Everyone wants to have the same like slanted up eyes. I mean, they're having that threading done, that incredibly painful procedure where you actually stick a thread in your cheek and pull it up from the inside. And that's how all of a sudden all these celebrities have slanted eyes. It's called threading.
Don't
they
do
have
that.
threading
Whatever that is, don't
parties
do
in
it.
fucking Hollywood where they all turn up and anesthetize themselves and put thread through their cheeks that you can't ever get out until you hope that it dissolves and doesn't like get infected inside of your body, and it pulls your whole face up, and so it kind of like hurts whenever you smile, and it's just there. That's what creates that lifted look.
Mm-hmm.
So I love telling people this shit because I just think we need to warn each other. Do whatever you want, be honest about it, but please be informed, because some of this shit has not been around very long. And we don't know its long-term impacts. I just feel very, very passionate about transparency, especially if you are profiting off your own beauty.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a career where you are given money and people aspire to look like you, tell the fucking truth.
Who cares?
It does bother me though, because it's just like gone too far. It goes back to the like, now we have unrealistic standards of beauty. I don't know, like where's the line? It's just I go both ways. Like there's no answer, but it's just like, yeah, there's stuff I would fix about my face. Maybe I will one day, but it's also kind of like how far is too far, because now we're like part of the problem. I don't know. It's like
I don't know.
I think it's just very important to make sure that you spend your money on healing your inside before you spend your money on healing your outside. That's my priority, is that all the money that I save that I would spend towards fixing my exterior, I put into therapy, because I think that if we were to fix our insides, then we would be less fixated on fixing our outsides.
Yeah, that would be great. But in the meantime, it's like what beauty is all fucked.
But also just be careful of what is going in. Like, don't just truly like be very mindful of who you're following online. I don't follow the Hadids or the Kardashians or supermodels because they would make me feel naturally like shit about the way that I look. it would go in somewhere, even as firm and as strong as like I am and you know, intellectually aware of what's happening. I would compare myself to them and then feel like shit about my clothes or my lifestyle or the way that I look. And so I make sure that I just follow artists and activists and writers and people who teach me something, educators, so that I'm nourished when I click on Instagram. I don't leave Instagram feeling like shit. And I think that you can really make a difference. I don't surround myself with people who encourage toxicity. I don't allow people who work with me to say coded things to me, like congratulate me around weight loss or comment on my weight when they think I need to be thinner. I have made sure that I have protected my bubble so well. And we all have the power to do that. Get away from a family member who's fat shaming you, or educate them, give them a chance, invite them to change the way that they're going to speak. Otherwise, stop talking to them. And change your feed. You don't have to see these images that are just torturing you.
I don't follow any of the Kardashians. I don't follow any influencers just because they're hot. And so if you like following fashion people because you like the fashion, the clothes, I mean, whatever, follow whoever you want to. But like, women need to hear that you can unfollow, you can mute. Like, what is the point? What is going in and what purpose is it serving?
I realized I was following all these, like, I don't know, you call like Revolve girls, you know, all these girls whose like job it is to model clothes. It's their job to be skinny and look beautiful. And I realized I was following all these accounts because I like the fashion. And I had to start unfollowing them because I just realized, like, I see these photos and it makes me like genuinely feel bad about myself. And there's no reason to feel bad about myself. And I was looking at these and I was like, I don't know anything about these people. I never hear them talk. I don't know if they're funny or smart, interesting. It's their job to sell this clothing and it doesn't make me feel good looking at that shit.
I think we should only ever do things. There's enough in this world, this terrible, terrible world to feel bad about. So why would we ever like willfully bring that into our periphery? And so I think that we learn how to protect our physicality. We need to learn how to protect our mental health.
Absolutely. It's powerful advice. Well, we did want to talk about your relationship. You are in a relationship. We want to respect his privacy as well. But would you mind just telling us a little bit about it?
Yeah, I have been in a relationship with a man for almost 6 years, I think we're going on. It's a really long time. It's my longest relationship by 3 times. And we live together in Los Angeles. We've bought a house together. I think he's probably my forever person. And he thinks that I am his. And it's a very nice, equal relationship where we don't care about each other's careers. We just are best friends. And so it's been the healthiest relationship I've ever had. We both have gone to therapy. So we didn't take out our own baggage on each other. We both made sure to come into this with a clean slate and know that we weren't projecting any other bullshit from other people onto one another. And I just think it's the healthiest possible relationship for someone with my mental health record.
Okay. And so through coronavirus and quarantining, how are you guys keeping it spicy and exciting? How are you not killing each other? You know, whatever you want to focus on.
We're just, like I said, we're best friends and we're both introverts. Like, we're not super party people. So we're all like big beach people. So we've actually loved being in lockdown. I never want
thriving.
this to end. Yeah.
Girl, same. I am loving this.
Yeah, I love this. I love not going outside. And we got a puppy. And so we're just raising this puppy together. We also have friends living with us. And it's just been a really fun little nest for us, and also just space for us to actually be able to help other people, which we can't do when we're just doing our own stupid careers that mean nothing. And so it's also been a time of just, there's so much to focus on in the world that we're not focusing on each other too much, you know what I mean? So like it's also great because he's got Call of Duty and I have a podcast, so we're doing like those two different things in separate rooms.
You're both wearing a headset,
but so that he can talk shit to 12-year-olds in another room.
Exactly. And we both work from home anyway most of the time, so this for us wasn't too weird. He did have to address that I've been wearing the same t-shirt for 4 months. I'm still wearing it today.
That sounds like you, Raina.
I haven't not let myself go in that respect.
I loved quarantine because I'm not a shower fan. I'm just not a big fan of showering. I hate being wet.
Well, I mean,
I like being wet in
exactly
life.
The same. Yeah. Yeah, it's just the WAP only. That's everything.
The WAP only. That's my vibe. WAP only.
Yeah. Only below the belt.
Yeah.
Yeah. We loved having you, and we would love for you to tell people where they can find you, learn more from you, read more from you, plug all of your things.
I'm truly just an expert on my own experience, but I have been learning from some great people on the iWay podcast with Jameela Jamil, and on my YouTube channel, which is just /Jameela Jamil, where I interview experts and doctors and scientists and young activists from around the world, and they educate me in real time. So you can watch that happen. And I also have now been able to start giving activists their own shows on my YouTube channel. So they get to interview other people and other celebrities that they love. It's a very inclusive space. And please follow iWay, which is at I_WEIGH on Instagram, because we are a super safe and inclusive space where you are almost definitely going to find and see someone who looks like you and see that person being celebrated and respected. And it's the most loving community of people who just cheer each other on all the time. It's truly my favorite place on the internet.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
So I would say follow that. We have a website, iwaycommunity.com, that's full of amazing writers and artists. And you can follow me on the internet if you don't mind a lot of swearing, which is Jameela Jamil Official.
And people can find all that information about you on our website, in the episode description, on iTunes episode description, Spotify. Ashley puts that all in there when she writes all the descriptions. So that will all be there if you guys forget all this stuff. It's on all of our stuff for resources too.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
Lots of love.
Well, that concludes our interview with Jameela. You guys stick around. We will be right back with a fun segment to round out this episode. All right, guys, we are back. And what we decided to do for the end segment was inspired by Jameela and her iWay community that she talked about. And basically, we asked you guys to tell us what you weigh in terms of what defines you. We got some really great responses.
Yes, we did. And of course, Ashley and I always want to read you the funny ones, and we're going to ping pong those back and forth. But we were both so impressed by all the stuff that you guys are proud of in your lives and the things that you say really define you. So I'm just going to rattle off like a couple ones that were just such a huge common theme, and then we're going to make you guys laugh with the other ones. But, you know, so many people said the way I treat others, my ability to bounce back, my authenticity, my strength, my resilience, my ambition, my pets, my work ethic, my humor, my empathy, integrity, education, badass career, and being a good friend, daughter, sister, mother, partner. And I was always really inspired by all that. And there's no shock here because we love you guys so much. And we're always inspired by you. So with that being said, the rest of these are super inspirational as well and funny. I'm going to let Ashley start with our MVP of response giver.
She never fails us. Straight out of the gate. Well, she's always right at the top, too. Jenny Jones says she weighs her wits and her tits, which, new merch alert.
She writes poems.
And my ability to rap those bars.
Okay. More than half the responses, my WAP. No shock there.
Can you imagine that someone's like, what do you weigh? You're like, I don't know. What does this wet ass pussy weigh?
What's this pussy weigh?
What's this WAP weigh?
Drop these 2 pounds on you. I have a chubby vag, so my WAP definitely weighs like at least 3 pounds.
Park this big Mack truck right in this little garage, right in this fat garage. That's the best line of the whole thing.
It is the best line. I want to learn the dance. Okay, I'm committed to learning the dance.
You have time, bitch. You're at the lake.
Literally
what else are you doing?
Nothing but time.
I can't. I'm staying with my brother right now. What if he walks in and I'm just like,
you're humping the floor. You're like that. Wop, wop, wop.
Okay. The next response, living alone for the first time and finally being financially and emotionally independent.
Yes, girl. I feel like I didn't do this on purpose, like ping pong these back and forth to be like really sweet and then really disgusting. My ability to be better than men at everything, especially fingering.
Especially fingering. Like, do you think she's fingering women? Like
I took it to mean fingering other women, but like also fingering herself. Whatever you want to finger, I'm glad that you're better at it than men are.
We're better men than everything. It's just so true. Okay. The next one, she says she is a DACA student, daughter of Mexican immigrants, scientist, and activist. All the things. Go off.
This next one, it's just very simple. My muffin top.
Okay. I feel that. That's my problem area. The next one, she weighs hot Cheetos. How many hot Cheetos do you weigh? She says hot Cheetos, also my relationship with my mother and being a dog mom.
Yep.
Love
this next girl, I feel like is me. I am the funniest person I know.
Yes. Remember when people just used to be like, the only person that thinks Ashley's funny is Ashley? And I was like, thank you for seeing me. The next one, she says, I weigh not a fucking man. That's for damn sure. Doesn't really make sense, but I respect it nonetheless.
I wrote it down. I heard you saying it. That's why I wrote it down.
Yeah.
I heard it in my head.
I guess she was answered like, what defines you? Not a fucking man. That's for damn sure. She sounds fresh off a breakup, but I respect it.
I feel like I feel Ashley in that sentence.
Yeah.
The next line, running for public office in the county where Ahmaud Arbery was killed. I am 27 and female.
I love that so much.
Girl.
More women in office more than ever. Okay. The way I care about others, also obvi my blowjob skills. Something to be proud of.
I love the ones you just don't see coming. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm so sweet. Also, I suck dick well.
Yeah.
I trust and love people when my shitty exes have done nothing but give me reasons not to. Good for you, girl. Keep your head
I
up.
love it. Being a first generation college graduate. I love that.
My ability to say fuck it and walk with my head high like I'm the best thing on this planet.
Yes, same. My courage to change my career after 3 years of school and 4 years of working. I love that. It's never too late to make a change and live your truth.
My purpose in life is to help others, social work, mental health, addiction therapy, also this fat ass.
Yes. Okay. Friendships, activism, alcohol, one night stands in that order. I love that. In that order. Don't get it twisted.
She's like, friendships are still important, but one night stands also.
She's like, I go out with my friends, we go to a rally, then we get drunk, then I fuck somebody in that order.
And then I suck off a stranger.
Yeah.
This next one is for you, Ashley. My cute butthole.
Cute butthole. Live your. I mean, I don't know what my actual butthole looks like. I know I have a long ass crack, but I've never gotten in there and looked right up in the beehole. I'm sure it's great.
You've never bent over and like peered into it.
Oh yeah, I have. I guess. I guess I've just never brought like a mirror back there. But yeah, I've bent over Ace Ventura style and spread my cheeks. Nobody's a cute butthole. There's a brown eye back there.
On the next YouTube video of Girls Gotta Eat, Ashley bends over and talks with her butt cheeks.
Yeah, straight out of 1994. Can't recommend it enough.
I have a pink butthole also. I have a lot of like color consistency through my whole area.
Yeah, you probably have a cute butthole.
There's tons of stuff wrong with me. I have the ugliest feet of all time, but my beehole is an excellent color.
Proud of you. Supporting myself and my kids with no financial help from their father. Man, if I can give it up for, well, all the mothers, but especially the single mothers, especially during this time, like we respect and support you.
We are slow clapping you all the way.
Yes.
All right. My strong thighs allow me to squat more weight than most men can. And yeah, they jiggled too.
That is such a flex.
Very
Squatting at the
powerful.
gym, you just like out squat every man.
I can't do one squat. So
That girl fucks.
Good for you, girl.
My quality of life I can provide for my dog and how much I love my dog. Ashley can relate. I love that. There's just so much pride in being a good dog mom.
I know. Half of these responses were about people's dogs.
But also, like, how do you know if you're a good dog mom? Dewey's bad. So maybe I'm not.
But Dewey seems happy, and I think that's how
He's
you
happy.
measure.
He's happy. He has a good life.
I can eat 7 pounds of chicken wings in one sitting and not give a fuck.
I love that. And I love that she did bring pounds into it. She's like, I weigh 7 pounds of fucking chicken wings.
I was trying to like do the math in my head of how many chicken wings is 7 pounds. How many do you think? A pound of chicken wings. Because
like
you're not eating
30.
But when you think about how much food you get off of a chicken wing, it's so little. So like 7 pounds, that could be like a ton of, I don't know. Go ahead,
Okay.
girl.
Using my law degree and argumentation skills to help asylum seekers. I love that. I wish I could argue for a living.
My incredible ability to make any situation awkward with my dark sense of humor and sarcasm. Same.
Raina snuck this one in.
Did I write this?
How I treat others, work ethic, perseverance, vulnerability, and that wet ass pussy.
She punctuated each one with an exclamation point.
Right. Can I reread this?
Yeah.
Okay. How I treat others, work ethic, perseverance, vulnerability, and that wet ass pussy.
Baby laughs so you never saw it coming.
Yeah.
That I can make people smile, my resilience to negativity, and the number of tequila shots that I can take.
I respect it. How many though? 7 pounds?
I would.
Okay. This one was for me and I love it. My ability to smile even on tough days, my family, and my big backpack energy.
If you guys didn't listen last week, Ashley brought a backpack on a date with the hottest man I've ever seen.
And Raina shamed me. You know what? Raina, it's 2020 and I just honestly don't think you should be backpack shaming.
I haven't showered in like 6 days and I'm at a lake, okay? I shouldn't shame anybody for anything.
That's fair.
All right, last one. The believe in myself standards and the unapologetic writing off of assholes.
No apologies.
No apologies necessary. Do it, girl.
Well, thank you guys so much. This was so great to read. I'm glad that we did this and found out what you guys think defines you. We love it.
We're always inspired by you, but no shock there. You guys are amazing.
And I mean, if you have a dry pussy, I don't know. I feel like you're
maybe that girl
attacked.
that's good. Maybe that girl that's fingering can reach out to some of you.
Yeah. Yeah, if your pussy's dry. Listen, if your pussy is not wet ass, it's not your fault.
Yeah,
it's a man's fault.
It's a man's fault.
All right, guys. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode and Jameela and all the things. You can find everything you need to know about us at girlsgottaeatpodcast.com. Click on live shows. Get those tickets to our virtual Stupid Live show on September 2nd. We can't wait to see you guys there. So many of you guys have been tagging us and you're getting the tickets and we're so excited to party with you guys and make you laugh on September 2nd. Girls Gotta Eat Podcast on Instagram, Ash Hess and Raina.Greenberg on Instagram, girls_gotta eat on Twitter, and youtube.com/girls gotta eat. And that's all.
That's it, guys. Have a great week.
Bye.